What's good, y'all? Prince Sports here. Drink the coffee and make you feel better.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Now I got a little something to talk about. We got a little fad going on of we done with this era, we done with that era, we done with the 80s, we done with the 2000s. Okay, very stupidity stuff. It started out in comedy format, so good for going viral with that, but that's good. But let's get to the roots of it. Now, we're getting to a point where we're discrediting every era of basketball. So that means nobody's good at basketball anymore. Since the beginning of the NBA started, nobody has been good to play basketball anymore. That means nobody perfected the sport other than the ones that you're watching. Get the fuck out of here. Okay? Why is it in any other sport, NFL, MLB, boxing, we respect the past, present, and future? But in the NBA, right? In the NBA, we got to discredit and put down somebody just to boost up a favorite player because he's lacking in certain things that he should be not lacking in.
A problem, my nigga?
The criteria don't change, the goalposts don't change just for him. But nevertheless, now we're getting to a point where if you take LeBron James and you put him in the 50s, he'll be dominating. He'll be doing Euro steps and crossovers and all this other stuff. Like, he'll be able to think of those stuff in that era and it's not even allowed. What would make him so special that he'll be able to do those things? And nobody else would be able to do that because it wasn't even invented or allowed. I keep telling people, if you take an iPhone and you go to the 50s with the iPhone, you go into a time machine, the iPhone would disappear. The technology didn't exist yet. So you can only deal with the confines of what you have. So when I say things like, I don't pit players from the 50s, 60s, and 70s as my GOAT, that's one position. GOAT is one category. Uno, numero, one, right? That doesn't mean they can't be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, right? One of the reasons why is because a lot of things that we do, we go by the criteria of the greatest player is really only in modern NBA history. It's not in the 50s, 60s, and 70s because a lot of things just didn't exist, right? So that doesn't mean they're not great. As a matter of fact, if you zap some of those players in today's league, they will be just as good because greatness transcends to any era. They will have the ability to do Euro steps, crossovers, anything from the past. I keep telling you, if you put it in the present or you put it in the future, it gets upgraded. But it doesn't work the same way from something that's present. You can't take LeBron James, put him in the 60s, 80s, whatever era, and suspect him to still have some of the same advantages that he have in today's league. He would have to be great by doing something else different. He would have to adapt differently. And that adaptation may not lead to being called the best player in the league. Just throwing it out there. But 40 years from now, if it's 2040 or 2050, and I say, hey, if LeBron played now, he will have such and such because the rules change, right?
No. Cut off the laugh track. Cut off the fucking music. Shaggy.
So anything from the past, LeBron will have his past argument that he could get upgraded to in the future. But as of right now, he's not the past, right? So he can't get upgraded. He can only stay where he's at. That's for any other player. So this whole nonsense, we done with this, we done with that. Well, if that's the case, you should be done with just basketball then. Don't even talk about who's the greatest because you don't have no criteria. We can't pit Michael Jordan against Bill Russell. We can't pit Kobe Bryant against Kareem, right? But what we can do is look at what you did in your era and was it more dominant and have you won more than that other guy in his respected era? It doesn't matter how much talent this guy has or whatever, or who he played against. That's irrelevant. If you're the best player of your generation, have you won more than the other guy from the past generation? because everybody got stats and individual accolades. It really just going to come down to winning. That's why when people sit there and say, and some of them said it on my channel, if LeBron wins one more championship, I'd say he's the GOAT. Why would you say he's the GOAT? Because you know winning is the final criteria to judging somebody's greatness. You know, if you have a lack of it, you can't be considered the GOAT. So winning always plays the main factor. That's why people say, if he wins one more, if he wins this, you do the same thing with Steph. If Steph wins one more chip, I pit him over LeBron. If LeBron wins one more chip, I pit him in whatever. If KD wins without Steph Curry, I pit him in this. Why is that? Because we have the common knowledge of knowing that stats and dominance goes from player to player. Individual accolades go from player to player. Some have more than others. Cool. But has that dominance ever led to winning? If it hasn't led to winning more than often, then guess what? You got a problem. You got to win more than you lose, especially on the biggest stage. And you have to make up for that. You don't get no free passes for that. You know, so all this weird, crazy shit is funny, you know, but you fail to understand that there is no LeBron James without a Michael Jordan. There's no Michael Jordan without a Dr. J. There's no Kobe without a Michael Jordan. All these guys pick up game from each other.
Kobe, you beat Michael one-on-one. I feel like, yo, what you get from me is from him.
So for you to completely disrespect another generation just because you haven't seen them play doesn't mean they're trash, right? And last time I checked, basketball has nothing to do with your ability of how you look. You could look like Oprah Winfrey. If you still know how to play basketball, it is what it is. You could be fat, skinny, small, whatever. If you got game, you got game. It's offense to defense. Can you put the ball in the basket? Simple. It's not about, oh, he got better dribbles and all this other bullshit. Doesn't matter. Can you score? Can you play defense? Can you have an impact on the game to help winning? That's it. And judging by the metrics, I always say the GOAT is based on modern NBA history because I don't, out of respect for the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I'm letting you know that I don't pit those players as my number one, but that doesn't mean they're not on my list. They just happen to be not number one. That's one slot, not 2, 3, 4, 5, just one. Sports out. Peace.